welcome to the most excellent 80s movies podcast. It's the podcast where a filmmaker, a comedian, a podcaster, and Blue Blaze Irregular known as A Prime, plus an unlicensed mixologist and another Blue Blaze Irregular known as, I believe, the Spaniard? Si. We're all going to hop in our rocket car and take a trip through the mountain into the 8th dimension of the 80s movies we love and love to hate. This is episode 28, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension. And I'm about to play a trailer that has literally no words in it. But there will be a link so you can add visuals.
It's all about the music.
President's on line 1 calling about is everything okay with the alien spacecraft from Planet 10, or should he just go ahead and destroy Russia?
Tell him yes on 1 and no on 2. Which was yes, destroy Russia or the number 2?
That's Buckaroo Banzai. Yay. I'm Krissy Lenz, improviser and comedian. With me, as always, is...
Nathan Blackwell, filmmaker and film watcher.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, that's accurate.
I think you can claim that.
That checks out.
Yes, and we are very excited to have not one, but two super-duper fans.
Dyed-in-the-wool blue blazers.
Yes. We're very excited to have them. First up is Mr.
Tony Fuentes. I'm unlicensed mixologist, as she said, as well as a Blue Blazer regular from like 1980 something. I can't remember when I started watching this film.
Wow, holy cow. And we know each other through Phoenix Comic-Con.
Yep, Phoenix Comic-Con now, currently Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Fan Fusion, yes. I'll get that.
Eventually,
yes, exactly. And Miss
Alice Baker, otherwise known as A Prime.
A Prime.
How I thought of that, I have no idea.
I mean, it's solid.
It's pretty solid. Maybe I was watching the Transformers, I'm not sure.
Well, the movie did come out around about that time. So.
Exactly. Yes, 1984, August. Mm-hmm. The year I graduated from high school.
And you brought a stack of, I mean a stack of really, really awesome...
3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, I think Anthony has it too. I just was the one who could find it in her file cabinet.
Mine is secretly locked away. I'm unable to find it because I don't remember where I put it. But I know it's locked away secretly somewhere.
Yes.
And it's like legit fan club information that is printed, Xeroxed, and stapled by a human being and
the
put in an envelope.
The staples have rust on them.
They do. I mean, like, it's really beautiful and like, hardcore. It is hardcore, A Prime.
Yeah, it is the only fan club that I have ever belonged to.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty significant. I think at this moment I might be in 12 to 14 fan clubs.
I think I'm a joiner, but I think you're even more of a joiner than I am.
I'm a fan club joiner. Yes.
You are a joiner.
So
this is an interesting movie because I think you and I share a similar history with Buckaroo Banzai.
Which is what?
No history.
No history at all, yes. That is absolutely true. And I watched it for the first time for this, but I want to hear about like the first time that you saw it, The Spaniard. Tell us what was the first time, and how did you know like you were
So
hooked.
this is like the definition of like a cult movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I was I'm originally from Southern California. So they used to have Channel 13, which was KCOP, and they would always have Sunday, Saturday matinee sort of movies, which is basically anything that just ran its cycle through the theaters. And I remember this show coming on and this guy putting something on his tongue and then suddenly electricity and he was transported elsewhere, i.e. John Lithgow in the film. And I just started watching. I think I was maybe about 7 or 8. I can't really remember. And just watching it and just completely lost. And when it ended, I was mad because it said that there was another movie coming out, and I'm like looking, and mind you, you're looking in newspapers, which is your only form of actual information. There was no internet, none of this, instant gratification for information. No, and it was just there was nothing. So you waited and you waited, and nothing, and then eventually, hey, it's at the video store.
Nice.
If people remember those things, God, I'm aging myself. But yeah, video stores, and then watching it from the beginning to end repeatedly. A couple times we had late charges when I was a kid because I hid the VHS tape and rewatched it over and over again.
Wow.
Fines were big back then. They were like $5.
I bet. Yeah, you could get yourself in some debt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think I still have a copy of I Love You to Death that I never returned to the Fry's where you could rent videos. They might still be looking for me.
Now they know, Krissy. Now they know.
Damn it.
You outed yourself. Change your name.
What about you, A Prime?
So this movie came out the year I graduated from high school. The year I graduated from high school. So
It's like a graduation gift to
it
you.
was like a graduation gift to me. Definitely saw it in the theater multiple times. Me and my bestie Phil Chang saw it many times in the theater, and then it came to the Dollar Movie Theater. And we weren't big,
Love a dollar movie theater.
right? And it was the kind now, I guess, like the Alamo, where you could sit.
Oh,
and
the
have
Alamo
beers
Draft
or
House?
Whatever.
Yeah.
So this was kid friendly, so there were no beers, but it was like tables and stuff. And we were never big. Oh my God, I can't believe that I can't remember what it's called. Where you go at midnight and you shout all the things, and it's got Frankenfurter.
Oh, Rocky Horror?
We weren't big Rocky Horror Picture Show people. This film was our Rocky Horror Picture Show. So we would go to the Dollar Movie Theater, and we would sit, and we would yell out all the lines, and we would sing along with the theme music, like the whole 9 yards.
This needs to be done again, like yesterday, and I would like tickets in a pamphlet.
So you just sit there and go, do do do
Do, 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 do. Where are your spurs from? Like I can probably quote more lines to this movie than any other movie that I know, including Big Trouble in Little China, which is my favorite 80s movie. This is Buckaroo Banzai is my second favorite 80s movie.
favorite.
And they're related.
See, I'm
as
vice
we'll
versa.
learn.
I'm very vice versa.
Oh, you're very vice versa.
Yeah.
Big Trouble is your second?
Yep, definitely.
Okay. Well, Nathan, Big Trouble in Little China is your favorite 80s movie as well.
Well, if I have to be honest,
You do have to be honest. We have a
Ooh.
clause.
I would probably put Raiders of the Lost Ark as number one. And Big
Oh,
Trouble
yeah.
as number two. I mean, like under oath.
Okay.
But
Which you are now. I swear you in.
Now
when you
everyone
enter
knows.
the building.
Everyone
The
knows.
court of the internet has heard your words.
And I didn't really see like Big Trouble in Little China until I was probably a teenager, so it wasn't like one of those early ones. But yeah, my history with Buckaroo Banzai, I didn't see it till like 2-3 years ago until Alice shamed me into seeing it.
Nice.
Did she have a bell?
It was-
Shame,
It
shame.
inadvertently struck me with shame raised. It wasn't like she said anything. It's like, oh, of course you love this because you love Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, oh, I better watch this movie. So it's interesting I think, for the subject of this podcast. We've been seeing a lot of great movies and ones that we grew up on, like Die Hard and Spinal Tap and The Thing,
Mannequin.
right?
The
But
Thing.
it's interesting to kind of like tackle this one because it's very close to a lot of people, and then some people have no idea what it is. It's very much like a cult movie.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
but I think that's a bit of a mystery to me because I definitely missed this movie. Like, I
heard about it since.
I don't think I heard about it. Like, and I had never seen the poster, and I was very confused about.
But you probably heard the lines, like.
Oh, yeah, I know,
Oh,
I
like
definitely heard
like
the
there's
lines.
always like the throwaway lines.
Where Wherever you go, there you are, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I have that tattooed. I
No,
won't
no,
say
no.
where, but I have it tattooed.
You do really? Nice. That was a wink, ladies and gentlemen.
Podcast listeners.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I didn't know anything about it at all.
So, but what, so you're 15 years younger than I am?
I am 38.
So not quite that. So 10 years. We'll call it 10
Yeah.
years younger than I am. So I feel like depending on where you fall and when it came out, because of its cult nature, as you mentioned, Nathan, if you weren't sort of in the thick of things in a certain
If you weren't cool.
mind frame, if
You
you,
had to be
weren't nerdy,
cool.
you had to be nerdy. I don't know about cool, but you definitely had to be nerdy.
Yeah, I mean, this was back when nerdy wasn't cool.
Exactly.
It wasn't geeky.
Yeah.
You know?
We did it in closed rooms quietly, out of the view of public.
I've been to a Star Trek convention, okay? So
So this was advertised at Star Trek conventions when it was coming out. It was that's
Yeah.
one of their tools that they
That's
used
how they
to
got
try
you.
and well, I don't think it was very successful because the movie only made back about half of what it cost to make it. But
Yes.
that was one of the ways they tried to get people.
It did not do well. So it'll be very interesting, I think, to have the table like exactly divided into two people who are experts and two people who I think the thing I wrote down most frequently was, I feel like I'm paying attention. And I don't know what's happening right now.
It all clicked to me when I realized that it's really really kind of following like the style of the old serials, to where it's like this is part 11
Yeah.
in a 28-part series, and you've got all these like extra characters who they haven't wrapped their storyline up with, so they're just kind of hanging out there in the background, and we'll get to them in the next movie. And all this information that everyone just takes matter-of-factly, like, oh yeah, of course, this and this, like information we don't need to give exposition to the audience, because of course they know. I mean, they've seen 10 more installments of this.
They read the novel.
Even the world, like,
They're caught up on the
it's like,
comic
oh,
book.
it's the latest issue of Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Yeah, New
And
Jersey
so,
says, yeah.
But I think the thing that throws that connection is that it doesn't, like, this is not like any kind of serial that was out there. Like, it's not like a, like a Flash Gordon-y kind of thing, or like, sort of like the old Batman style serials. But it's definitely following that same like pattern.
That
and
idea.
and it doesn't have like, Star Wars kind of tipped that off as saying like, oh, this is episode 4. Eventually, they put that on there, so it wasn't like Buckaroo Banzai installment whatever. And so, really, if you weren't expecting it, it's like I almost feel like the perfect. It's like, so if you've never seen this movie, the perfect way to experience it is to come in 5 minutes late and to feel like you're an hour behind.
Yeah.
And to let the confusion and the discovery and just like enjoying the moments be the experience.
Just go with it.
Yeah, and don't like rewatch it right away to understand it. This is only a movie you should like watch like every 7 years to keep like the confusion and the mystery and the joy of the moment intact. It's not a movie to decrypt.
So I would agree. I don't know if you feel the same way.
You got a stack of papers there that might decrypt.
Well, so one of the things I remember as a young person,
It's like unexplained weirdness, and
it is unexplained weirdness. And so if you were in the inn, then you felt more sort of
You knew.
in the know, right? Because you knew and nobody else got it, but
Yeah.
you got it because you were in the know.
you've decrypted it.
Well, but not right.
Or you got the
Because-
newsletter, and
Yeah.
Because we got the newsletter, right? But
That
I mean,
explains the
thinking about that,
watermelon.
I like what you say because, right, the concept of a franchise was really new at this point, right? So this came out the same year as Temple of Doom.
When was
right,
this,
the
83?
second. This is 84.
There's some big movies.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Big movies.
This is Spinal Tap, which is the next
E.T.
movie
Yes.
that's coming out.
Ghostbusters came out this year.
Ghostbusters,
Yep.
that's right.
I
looked up the-
Starman.
Yes.
Starman.
Hold on.
God, there was a bunch. This was a big year for 80s movies.
But the franchise concept, I mean, Star Wars was in 77, and then
So
Empire comes
this
out.
is the second one. No,
Yeah.
this is Jedi. This is Jedi,
No.
right?
83 was Jedi.
Was Jedi.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's at this point we've sort of have an established idea of like a series. At least we got from Star Wars, but other than that, with slasher flicks. I mean, horror movies. They had like
good point.
Jason Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and so on and so forth. But the concept for a serial in a movie format, it was still a risky venture if you're a studio. Because what if the first one bombed?
Right.
And you're promising, I don't know, a second movie that you never got.
So I have the box office mojo for 1984. Number 1 movie, Beverly Hills Cop. Number 2, Ghostbusters. Number 3, Temple of Doom. Then Gremlins, Karate Kid, Police Academy, Footloose, Romancing the Stone,
wow.
Star Trek
Right.
3, Splash, Purple Rain. I mean, it's a big year.
It's a big year.
That's pretty much my library.
Dune.
So Jeff Goldblum turned down Egon to play New Jersey.
And thank God he did. Love
we
you,
got
love
Harold
you, Harold
Ramis,
Ramis.
right?
Yes. Wow.
Spores, moles, and fungus.
I was so excited. Like every single person who came up, and I was just like, "Oh my God, look at who
That
it is.
guy.
Look at
That
who it is.
guy.
Is that
Yeah.
Dan Hedaya? What are all these
Is that
people
Yakov
doing here?
Smirnoff?
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, that is Yakov
Smirnoff.
Smirnoff.
It is.
Why is Christopher Lloyd redheaded? Oh my God!
Yeah. Well, and they're so recognizable in when they have their alien masks on. Is like, yeah, that's Chris. That one's Christopher Lloyd. That one's Dan Hedaya. That one's the guy from Ghost on the subway.
Crap. John. Oh,
Vincent
Vincent.
Schiavelli.
Yeah, Vincent Schiavelli.
Yes.
Yeah, he was like a great character actor. He was like in every film when it came to 80s and early 90s because
Yeah.
he just had that long, weird face.
It was just character after character after character after. I won't know his name either, but he's from Breaking Bad. Mike Ehrmantraut is also in there.
Oh, yeah.
I think my favorite part, though, of the whole thing, because I'm like writing notes and they are like brain surgery, jet car testing, through a mountain. This is nonsense poetry. Gross John Lithgow. I'm just like trying to make sure I'm keeping track of what's happening. And then they get to the rock star part, and it's just like I'm just all drawing like stars and being like, more shoulders, please. More saxophone. Like when they change into their rock star clothes, I was into it.
And the
like,
faux Billy Idol.
and perfect Tommy.
Perfect Tommy. Yep, faux Billy Idol.
I'm into it. I'm down for Perfect Tommy. And I think my favorite moment was when they're playing their rock and roll music.
Maybe. I mean, it's really sort of
New
very.
wave.
So Billy Vera plays Pinky Carruthers, and Billy Vera is a musician. I forget what his band is called. Do you know what
I
it's called?
don't remember.
I can't remember, but and so I think maybe he had an influence. I don't remember.
It's
in terms
a
of
lot
the
of
sound.
it's a lot of horns. So you have a huge brass section and
two
guitar.
saxophones.
Oh,
a
yeah.
Tiny trumpet.
which Peter Weller actually plays.
Yep,
Tiny trumpet.
that's
He plays the
him.
tiny trumpet.
I want to talk about Peter Weller.
He's a professor now.
Are you being serious?
Yes.
Of what?
I think it's like Renaissance literature.
I would totally buy that.
I would buy
I'm
that.
not
too.
even joking.
Okay.
I could be incorrect, but I'm not joking.
I just love the moment where he stops and he's like, someone's crying. It's so good. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, what a great moment. Like, every girl is like, wait, what?
He heard,
You heard me crying, Buckaroo? Like, so good.
And then the song, his solo.
Yeah.
And was it?
And then the song didn't really get me, but just the moment.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, shut up.
So pretty.
Someone's crying.
Shut the fuck up.
Let me get to the bottom of this.
Well, and the whole now, don't be mean.
Yeah.
Because remember,
No matter where you go, there you are.
Do you have a favorite part?
oh my God. So I really enjoyed actually the bit part. So did you end up seeing the special edition with the?
I did not
The
because
intro?
the other one was on Amazon Prime, so I went free.
So you went for
Yes.
Smart. So did you see the?
No, it's free on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And it's
So,
not a special edition, yeah.
so in the special edition, they have a bit where it's old-timey home movies. Is
Oh,
what
yeah.
It's supposed to look like,
Yeah.
right? And it's when the jet car is first being tested and Buckaroo loses his parents because Hanoi Shan sabotages the rocket car at the time with the oscillation overthruster. And Jamie Lee Curtis plays his mom
Yep.
as a cameo. And I, having not, that didn't come out originally, so I actually love that little scene at the beginning, and Rawhide narrates it. He does
Oh,
a
yeah.
voiceover
Yep.
through the whole thing.
Clancy Brown, his beautiful
Yeah.
baritone
Oh,
voice.
he looks so good in this movie.
Is he the one that sort of looks like Seth Rogen?
He's the one who gets alien shot with
Yes.
with Spider.
In Perfect Tommy almost cries. I do love that part where he's like, he can't look because he's like so emotional
So-
that Rawhide is dying.
I mean, Perfect Tommy has a lot of layers.
He's like an onion.
As long as he takes them off, we're good with that,
Yes,
right?
precisely. A Prime. Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down.
Now, if you find some of those original stock photos, or not stock, but scene photos from the movie, they have the actor who playing Perfect Tommy and wearing much and much less because he
As
was
the
trying to
song
be a
goes
model. Well, no, they were just photos. They were promo photos, and it's like it was turned into like a very risque boy shoot. So like,
and isn't there some like with some ladies as well?
Oh, yeah.
In the whole thing, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, she is wearing a pink fringe outfit, like in her.
Oh, and
jail
her
cell.
outfit for
Yeah.
Penny Pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all very.
I
very
don't know that I
fancy.
could pick a favorite. Can
It's
you pick
hard.
A favorite?
It's always been two of mine. It's the realization when they start coming across like how many Johns, which is a joke in itself. How many Johns are in New Jersey? It's statistically impossible because there's John Big Booty, John Big Balls, and so on. Like this
Smallberries, yeah.
just all these ridiculous names. So you have all that because they bring it back to Orson Welles and the whole War of the Worlds thing, and it's like, oh my God, it's a great correlation. As a kid, it was like, oh my God, this is real, and that was like,
real.
And then the last part with Christopher Lloyd's character when he just loses his shit and just like starts yelling at Lithgow's character. He's hanging there and it's like your oscillation overthruster is crap, and just turns around and shoots him. I'm like, well, at least he had to say. It's the one thing we all wish about our bosses, that eventually we have that one moment we tell them their idea is crap.
And then you get shot.
You get shot, yeah.
I watched the movie with Rocket.
What did the kids think of it?
I think Zoe went off to practice her recorder, but Rocket was watching it. He was into it, and every time they said "big booty," he'd go, "Big booty." He got a kick out of that. He liked it. He has to watch it again.
Bootay.
Hey,
Bootay.
yeah, that's a love. That's so funny. To me.
It tickled him every time. Did you find a favorite moment, a nugget to hold on to?
Maybe not a favorite moment, but a moment I think that kind of sums up the movie in a microcosm. So it's an action sequence, and they're running, and someone stops and says, "Why is there watermelon there?"
Oh,
I'll tell you later. And then they keep going.
No one ever tells anyone.
That's the movie.
And there is
Yep, that's the movie.
specifically an
So if
explanation.
you can't enjoy that moment, you won't enjoy
Enjoy
this
the film.
movie.
here.
I think that's
Yeah.
fair. I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Do you want to reveal what the newsletters revealed to you about the purpose of the watermelon, or do you want to let it remain a mystery?
I don't know if she has the clearance for that.
Oh.
That's true. I don't know that I.
As
yeah.
a
Shall
Prime.
I inspect your? I don't know.
My
I don't
documents
think
there. If I,
Look through them.
so there's one of the special features on the special edition, which I assume is on the Shout Factory. I can't remember.
Yeah, it should
is-
be on the special edition. The 999 Secrets of Pinky Carruthers as a historian.
There you go.
Yep.
So they do reveal one of the official, because these actually give several options as to what the watermelon is
Yeah.
for.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But the official Pinky Carruthers version is that there is a plan to drop watermelons in Africa to help with the famine, and they're testing the tensile strength of the skin of the watermelon. That is what it says. That is what it will tell you.
And that is what I found on the internet as well. So it must be true.
After
You needed to know what the watermelon
well, yeah.
was
After the
for.
scene, you're like, "Why is this happening? Why is this? Tell me, internet." And we told you.
It was also I read a really cool article which I already posted to our Facebook group Most Excellent 80s Movies Facebook group, which was stop what you're doing and watch Buckaroo Banzai right now. And it's basically explaining how this movie is sort of the antithesis of like the modern Marvel movie that really like gives you the whole story start to finish, complete with origins. Nothing's a mystery. You always know who has the Tesseract. Yeah. And then it's like, this is the opposite. Nothing makes any sense.
Well, and I think the other argument that gets made with that a lot is the referentialness, right? So when you're watching one of those Marvel movies, although they make it so anybody can watch it, they do put in a lot of stuff that the super fans are going to get, and they reference each other. They reference the comics. They reference the TV shows. They're all self-referential.
Yeah.
And Buckaroo Banzai references nothing
And
when
yet,
it first comes out.
I think my
references
mom would have
everything.
the same experience watching Buckaroo Banzai in the latest Avengers movie.
Well, there's one moment where they say, like, they're talking about Orson Welles.
Yep.
So this is the moment that you mentioned where they're like, oh, War of the Worlds, Orson Welles. And someone says, you mean the guy from the wine commercials?
Which is completely dated because then you remember all those wine commercials back from then, and like, oh
If
god,
you're old enough to remember those wine
That's so
commercials.
Yeah.
random and so great.
it was
'Cause
topical.
Those wine commercials
It was
are
very
so
topical.
amazing. You can find them. If you, stop what you're doing right now. Just Google Orson Welles wine commercial. There's some. Never mind.
Which,
But
if you're
it's worth it.
if you're into Orson Welles, you should also watch the Netflix documentary on his last film that's out right
The
now.
Magnificent Ambersons.
The
that
Love
it?
Me When I'm Dead.
Yes.
The making of the wind.
I don't know what to call it.
No,
You know what I speak of, you film nerds.
no. If completely off track. Side note with Orson Welles,
The other side of the wind.
the other side. Alejandro Jodorowsky, who's done many weird, insane films like El Topo and The Holy Mountain, he actually had a version of Dune that was going to have Orson Welles in it as the emperor of the. No, it was Dali. Yeah, he had Salvador Dali in the film. It was even weirder. But he was having Orson Welles as Baron Harkonnen. Harkonnen, depends on how you pronounce it. But yeah, and the deal was that he would hire Orson Welles' favorite chef to be on set to make his lunch, dinner, and breakfast while he was there. That's insane. I mean, if you ever see that documentary on
That's a good
Dune,
one. That's
oh,
another
it's
good one.
insane. Absolutely insane.
Well,
Anyways.
I love insane people and things. So
It's just unique. It's
really
unique.
is.
And I think that's what makes being on the in so fun.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
on the in, you're on the in, and everybody else looks at you like you're crazy, but you know.
yeah.
You know.
And I don't. And I'm like, let me in, you guys. Somebody tell me.
Well, even
But-
well, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no,
No,
please.
I was going to say that there's look at all the multitude of stars in the cast. I mean, obviously we have
So many.
Peter Weller, we have Jeff Goldblum, John Lithgow, Clancy Brown, which most people only recognize him because they know his voice. He was Lex Luthor in the DC universe. He was Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and of
No,
course.
from Highlander.
Oh yeah, and he was the Kurgan in Highlander. I mean, he's
Shawshank Redemption.
yeah, he was the cap
He was
the head screw as I called him.
Currently-
the main
Right.
Yeah.
the main evil security.
Currently,
guard.
Yep,
he's
yep,
in
yep.
Detroit Being Human, the new PS4 game.
Yep. I mean, so you had like a very wide all-star cast for this film, and you're like, oh my, oh, of course, Dan Haya and then Christopher Lloyd also in that, and you're like, oh my God, these people are in this.
You
Why didn't I
recognize
watch this?
literally every
Where did-
person. Ellen Barkin. Like, I
Yeah.
was looking at her going,
Ellen
I
Barkin.
know who that is.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Fear and
Who is
Loathing in
that?
Las Vegas was the second time I had ever seen her.
Oh, wow.
She was the waitress in that North Vegas diner, just completely spun out, and you're like, oh my God, it's Penny Pretty.
Penny, Penny.
Oh,
Yeah, you do recognize every single face that crosses the screen. But I think something that like maybe didn't hook me, and I could definitely completely imagine if I had seen this in high school, like I would have tried to still sign up for the fan club and been like, no, please let me know. I need to know what all this is. But like I didn't respond to Peter Weller very effectively. Like,
Interesting.
I feel like even maybe if they had swapped Jeff Goldblum and Peter, like I get it, he did a great job, but I didn't like find him dreamy.
I would
To
say it's a
each-
matter
to
of its
each her
taste.
own. Yeah.
Do you
I
find
really-
him dreamy, A. Prime?
I find his performance perfect for the film. Now, granted, I've probably seen the film 40 to 50 times, so that may color my impression at this point.
Probably.
But I love how he plays it for the most part so straight. He plays it so straight, and at first you're introduced to him, he's like a cool cat, man. He's like a brain surgeon.
Understated, yeah.
He's very understated until the, infamous, evil pure and simple, black droids from the 8th dimension. And then there's that complexity. But I really loved that sort of low-key, cooler than cool kind of way that he played the character. It worked for me. Now, did I think he was, sexy like Perfect Tommy? No. But I liked his character. I mean, Rawhide was the guy for me. But,
Yeah.
It's that baritone voice, I swear.
there was someone for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, you look at Pierre Weller, I mean, he was cut. I mean, not like muscular. I mean, he was fit.
80s.
He was
80s fit.
he had that pale, and then he had like the really, really dark hair against the pale skin and the blue eyes. I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff popped out. The only thing that kind of threw you off was near the end with the Pee Wee Herman outfit.
Oh, I loved it. I was in.
You were
I
in
was
for
like,
that.
I love
You
it.
were for that.
I love it. I like it. More shoulders, please.
Yeah, so the woman who did the costume designs for this film, has a career. She did the clothes for American Graffiti. She did the clothes for one of the Star Wars films. I think it was probably Return of the Jedi. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, she has an incredible resume. And for the time, man, those clothes were for shizzle.
I loved them.
I wore 2 belts throughout high school because of Pinky Carruthers. I wore I had the regular belt and I had
then the one that was-
and then I found that other belt I used to wear. It
Oh my
doesn't
God,
fit
that's
anymore.
amazing. My son,
Sadly.
having now seen the movie probably 3 times because of me, is now
so that's interesting.
experimenting.
So what's his relationship with this movie?
So he thinks it's quirky fun. He definitely, there are slow parts, right? I mean, the plot, the pacing does drag at parts, right? And so there are times where he sort of checks out for the pacing issues. But other than that, he thinks it's crazy, wacky fun. But he also reads JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, the anime. So, he's down for the weird.
I think that kids who are of that preteen, tween, teenager age are sort of being programmed at this point to be down for things that don't entirely make sense, like Adventure Time.
Oh, in the cartoons. Yeah.
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls.
Angry Orange. I love Gravity Falls.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's
so
like
good.
animated X-Files.
Yeah,
Oh, my
well,
God,
and
it's
Gravity
so
Falls
good.
brings it all together in the end. Something like Adventure Time is random for the sake of random, and then like Buckaroo Banzai, they're never like, oh, here's what a lumpy princess is. They're just like, that's what it is. Deal with it. It's a rainicorn. We're not gonna explain to you why there is one.
Why didn't you know this? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
So I think that's something that isn't quite as whoa, but then no one explained to me. Blah blah blah.
Right.
I
Look
like
it up on
being
Wikipedia, kid.
launched into the middle of something. It's one of my favorite things about Back to the Future is that you don't know the origin story of how Doc and Marty meet or anything like that. So I like just
Right.
being thrown into a big old mess. But yeah, the clothes
So good.
are so good. And all of the visuals I thought were really neat. Even the aliens in their very DIY rubber maskiness.
Right. So I don't know if it's true for everyone at this table, but often what I hear from people my age is they really miss practical effects.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Kind of tired.
Rick
of
Baker.
Super CGI. So I like all of that stuff, and you can tell that mask probably wasn't
Well, with all the masks, you had Dan Haida and Vince Chevalier and Christopher Lloyd. Their masks were exceedingly articulate. We were able to tell a lot of facial expressions, but you look at everyone else in when we get into the hive, the nest.
Yeah, it's
everyone,
just a pull-on
it's
mask.
because they ran out of budget.
Of course.
And it just was the same thing with the black lectoids. They had them filmed in the beginning, so they had very articulate-looking faces. And then you get to John Parker, and John Parker's kind of stale when it comes to the face. But then again, aliens. Aliens aren't. We're not supposed to have weird, facial tics or anything. What does an alien look like?
Oh my God, I love when John Parker, when they're in the hive and they're running from area to area, and he does that thing where he runs with his feet out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's very critical. Like, what is this? Oh, it's a very bad design.
Yes. Yes, that part is hilarious. But you know from alien masks, Mr. Blackwell?
Yes.
Somewhere in this building is I have an alien mask that you made that has a green monster face.
Very good.
No comment on monster faces?
Oh, from Voyage Trekkers,
Yeah.
the lizard masks. Yeah.
Did you? So were you looking at it going like, oh yeah, I like it, I dig it, like
Yeah,
stylistically?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's tough when you don't have a lot of money. You've got those pull-on ones, especially for just like the actors, you know, the background actors. You could see the same thing happen with like Planet of the Apes. To
Oh,
where,
yeah.
like the first ones are like amazing, and then like the people just behind them, it's like, oh, it's just it's a rubber mask.
Did you buy that at Easley's? It looks like you bought... Oh, wait,
Yeah.
Easley's is closed. Oh.
Aw.
All right.
R.I.P. Jinx.
So, but yeah, I mean, the big difference is that it's broken up into sections, and they glue each section onto the face. So it's not like the quality of the mask. It's like literally this is a pull-on Halloween mask, and this one is like different sections that they have to glue on and probably tear off and throw away and do a new version that the next day.
That reminds me of something in the Buckaroo Banzai Declassified documentary that I think is also a special feature. Because I think the guy, I don't know if it's Richter, is talking about how they ran out of so much money that they couldn't have the makeup guy on set. So what you're describing about the various pieces needing to be glued on, apparently that was done by a subpar professional on top of the other issues they
You
had.
know, because,
so.
you know,
It was an intern.
it was my cousin Steve that was just slapping on makeup.
Volunteers. Yeah.
Right.
Other cast members, Peter Waters, like slapping things
Yeah.
on people.
That was another thing that I was thinking of, just as a filmmaker, the director W.D. Richter, who we talk about the connection with Big Trouble in Little
Right.
China. He was one of the writers on Big Trouble in Little China.
I did not know.
Yeah.
I
So,
have
but
learned.
I was just watching this movie and just wondering, like, how much of a nightmare was it to film this movie? Because it definitely has like so much joy and personality to it. But how do you make that in a system that wants to commoditize the
Right.
story? I mean, this is a very non-commercial movie. It is a kind of a singular vision, and everyone
Right.
is kind of together in on it and having fun. But that just means to me that it was probably a nightmare to make.
Right, and certainly a nightmare to market and try and sell.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, yeah, it's most you can do. It's a sci-fi adventure. That's what you leave it at.
It seemed like that trailer, though, that we played was pretty spot on in terms of, like, what's the tone?
Yeah,
You know.
I agree.
Adventure, aliens,
Walking
music,
towards each other in the L.A. River. Costumes.
and the L.A. River still has not changed to this day.
And it's in every movie.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
it's incredibly smaller.
Oh, you're wearing your Team Banzai shirt. I
Oh,
see
yes.
it now. I love it. So what do you guys think in terms of, like, remake? Should we drag this up? Should we try and throw someone in it? No, just
No.
Alice is shaking her head.
Nope.
Maybe sequelize it,
Sequel.
but
So we were talking earlier. Shout out to Oro Brewery.
Yeah, our next door neighbors.
Yes. Ernest Cline, the guy who wrote Ready Player One, a huge Buckaroo Banzai fan, if that wasn't obvious enough, if you
Right.
read the book or watched the movie. He's written a screenplay for Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League. So for me, and especially considering
Just like
the nature...
unauthorized, like he's just
As a fan.
like My Bill and Ted Part 3
Yes,
script.
exactly.
Love it.
So because of that serialized nature and what Nathan was talking about, how it's episode 11 in a 24 series
Yeah.
arc, I would much rather see it as either a TV series or
Ooh,
prequel,
yeah.
sequel, that kind of thing.
You know,
It would
maybe
make-
maybe
sure.
animated, and that way you can have.
there
all,
was
you
an
can have all the
animated
voices.
pilot at one point, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
just I only saw the opening trailer where it was kind of like you saw the jet car go through and fight alien ships and go through a mountain, and a big thing with potatoes being used as a power source.
Oh.
Potatoes.
It would be cool if it was animated because then you could still have like Christopher Lloyd and
All the everyone in there.
yeah,
You know.
still doing their voices. But I do love the idea of, I mean, you could have really, that had some legs on Netflix or Hulu or something like that if they were to try and like make it just this crazy serial. I mean, one of the things I considered recommending as my deep cut recommendation is Legion, the FX
Oh, yeah.
series,
Yeah.
which I know Nathan has not seen.
I have not.
But I've also heard it's very wacky
it
and
makes
really out
no
there.
sense.
Right.
You got to dive deep into your own psyche, man.
Yeah, but I think I could totally get excited about something like that. Who would you cast as a Buckaroo Banzai?
Uh-oh. Here comes
Please.
the paper.
Please let me know.
So my pick for Buckaroo Banzai is Jeffrey Dovin from Burn Notice.
The main guy from Burn Notice?
The main guy from Burn Notice. That is my pick. For
He
Buckaroo
has a very
Banzai.
similar
Kind of
sensibility.
has a similar look.
Yeah.
And at least when he played that character, there's a certain cool cachet kind of a thing to that character as well. I consider the other problem I had was like if you're going to do Against the World Crime League, they can't be younger. So at
Right.
first I was looking at young up and coming Hollywood stars because I love that when people cast lesser known
Yeah.
people. But you need them to be still in their 30s, I would say. So
What
I
if
was
you go
looking for
prequel?
actors.
What if you go before?
I can't remember the kid's name. I think he's French, but he looks like a younger Peter Weller. But I can't remember his name.
What's he in?
I can't remember.
Okay, very well.
That film with the guy in
With
the
the
thing.
guy in it,
You know, he's French.
Guy with Pants, the movie.
Part 2, it's personal.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was tossing this one back and forth, and it's like, well, if we were going to go to the World Crime League, we have someone someone sort older and wiser, because
So
this
you guys
was
are on the same page about
yeah,
that.
and it was a hard to pick because anybody you can't pick someone like a George Clooney or a Liam Neeson.
Too beefy.
Yeah, they're too much of a celebrated actor. I would want to pull somebody like out of a soap opera, an actor, someone who's got the chops, but someone who understands there's a bit of an age dignified appearance, kind of like
You need a silver fox.
a silver fox indeed.
Except I don't think Against the World. I think if you're going to make it a serial, Against the World Crime League happens
Oh, yeah.
Immediately after.
So he can't be that much older.
True.
IMO.
I don't know. I was
That
I was
is a
going back
tough
and forth.
Category to grab people out of though. Like
Sure.
the just this side of middle aged.
Sure. New Jersey, Gordon Levitt.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel like you could bleach that hair and make him a
Perfect
decent,
Tommy. So for Perfect Tommy, Louis Tan. I don't know if anyone knows who Louis Tan is. The only thing that people might know him from is from Into the Badlands. If you watch that on AMC, he's got Perfect Tommy's body,
She's
which
measured.
is important here.
You have
She's
a
checked
picture
it
on your
out.
phone?
She's done cross comparison.
Trust me,
by
I
the way,
have.
she's
Louis
smiling.
Tan is beautiful.
I would suggest casting the guy who they cast in the RoboCop remake and just force that guy to redo all of Peter Weller's
Wait.
old movies.
Yeah,
Isn't he Colin Farrell?
No. The Kellerman.
I
He's a Scandinavian. I'm
Ooh.
going to make it broad. He's a Scandinavian actor. He was in, oh my God, the Netflix series where you download yourself into the other bodies.
Yeah.
What the hell is
Oh,
it?
Altered Carbon?
Arthur Carbon.
Altered Carbon. He's the
Yeah.
guy who started in
Okay.
Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
At that point, him or grab one of the Skarsgård brothers. I mean, any one of them. Well, except for the younger one.
No, the one from the Stephen King.
Yeah, you don't want to get in. He's too cherub like. You want to like something like the Eric Northman.
I don't find him cherub-like at all. He's creeperoo.
Well, you don't want Buckaroo to
But
be
he has
creepy.
that, no, but he has that
Yet-
like stoic, that like distant quality that Peter Weller has.
Did you see
See,
Castle
I
Rock?
didn't take it as distant. I took it as that Bushido connected, that higher mind, like I'm calm, cool, chill, and I connect
And plus, he's
with
gone
you
through
on
like
a
100
very,
of these ventures
Someone's
already.
right,
Crying.
exactly, right.
You know.
And
Well,
then I would do a gender flip on Rawhide and do Allie Brie from Glow.
I love her. She would be so great.
Or the daughter Rawhide, because he was supposed to be put on cryogenic freeze.
Right. So who else have I got? I've got Penny/Peggy as Suki Waterhouse. She's like more of a B. She was in Assassination Nation and The Bad Trip, The Bad Drugs, The Bad Stuff.
The Bad
happens.
Batch?
The Bad Batch. There you go.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch. I like her. So then how about this as like a cameo? We get Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell to be Reno and Pecos.
I'm into that.
Right? Because Pecos is a female, which is the whole joke about New Jersey being like, oh, you're Pecos to Reno, and oh, you're Pecos, because Pecos is a female. New
Way
Jersey
off.
doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Again, you have to be in the inn. I see that little bit of like lost bit on Nathan. He's like, I have no idea.
I remember that bit though of him wanting to say who everybody is. You're perfect.
Right.
Homie. Nope.
And that's the where are your spurs from? that whole line. Who else? Right? And then for Hanoi Shan, I'm thinking somebody, Korean actor from those really amazing Korean action movies. If you don't watch Korean action movies, you need to fix that ASAP because they're amazing. So either Lee Byung-hun, which everyone would recognize, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's who did he play in Snake? Cobra Commander, what is that? G.I. Joe. He plays Snake. Is that who that character is?
No.
No,
Guy in
it's
white,
Storm
is he?
Shadow.
Storm Shadow.
Storm
There you
Shadow.
go. Thank you.
Yep.
I knew one of you nerds would know. Or
Geek, thank you very much.
Nathan, have you seen The Good, the Bad, and the Weird?
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's not on the tip of
So
my tongue.
right,
Yeah.
right. So they're I think one of those guys for Hanoi Shan.
Was he one of
I
your
got the whole thing cast.
Squee Fest?
Lee Byung-hun was, yes.
Yes, that's why I know who that is.
Yes.
It's that cold look in his eyes.
Well, what you're describing though, like, may have been why I did not connect to Buckaroo Banzai in the same way. Like, you know, if you ask me what 80s boys I think are cool, I'd be like Lloyd Dobler. You know, the weird ones who have zero chill, right? Like, chill is not for me. Like, I love it. What about you? What are your thoughts on a modern update?
I'm not sure, but with the modern update, it's I always get cringy anytime anyone talks about a modern update because I don't mind like with Men in Black that's coming out, right? They're doing it's not a reboot. It's an extension of the universe.
It's a different story within that same world.
Within the same. I
Yeah.
appreciate
Extension of the
when they do that versus if you're a hardcore comic book junkie like me, which is probably a lot of people listening, the Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters that came out with the all-female cast, it's all part of this universe that they wrote into the comic books. There's like multiple iterations of Ghostbusters in different universes, and that's just one. And they're all connected in some fashion or in some way. I would like kind of like the same concept with Buckaroo Banzai, that this was just one iteration. So if they were to,
I really wish with like the new Ghostbusters that they would have connected it somehow rather than just kind of like.
Well, in the comics they
restarted.
did. In the comics, it's another thing for me because again, headcanon, you're traveling to other dimensions.
Yeah.
Who's to say that there is not another Buckaroo Banzai on the other side?
Yeah,
and
I
then,
dig that.
You know, crashing jet cars like, oh my god, I just hit somebody, and that they two guys walking out looking at their jet cars and they apologize, trying to exchange insurance cards. Oh wait, you're Buckaroo. No, you're Buckaroo.
Yeah, that would totally be plausible in this world.
Yeah.
And see, that would be a good way to be able to have a younger cast or even a much more modern cast.
Everyone just flipped and changed and just a little different.
Yeah.
You can always do a
I dig
mirror
that one.
universe.
Yeah.
What, Buckaroo with a beard?
In a sword
I
instead of a
might be into
six-shooter.
There we go.
So on a scale of, let's say, 1...
Thruster out of 10 thrusters?
Yeah.
One tie out of, or is it?
I think I was going to
tie.
say one saxophone out of up to 10
Belts?
saxophones.
Belts or bow ties.
one belt out of 10 belts.
Right,
Yes.
right. You know, Buckaroo wore it before the Doctor did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I have an
And
entire
it was
collection
cool.
of bow ties because of him.
So there are instructions.
Oh,
On
there it
tying
is.
These
bow ties?
documents on how to tie a bow tie.
I mean, I think there's something about everything in those documents. I'm sure that there is. You have to let me take some pictures. All right. So 1 to 10. The pressure's on you guys.
Oh, so this is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Big Trouble in Little China is a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
And my favorite movie of all time, which is Singing in the Rain, is a 10 out of 10. But very, 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 very few films get a 10 out of 10 from me.
Okay. That is fair. I like that you did provide us with a 10, though, so we know that it does exist. All right. What do you think?
Feel free to aim for the ceiling.
Well, okay, for my own personal ceiling, we have my 10 out of 10 is Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Because I'm a Star Wars junkie through and through. Buckaroo comes about 8.5, almost a 9, but not quite, because it's a fight between him and Indiana Jones.
Wow, they're so much rougher on their beloved movie than I would ever be.
No, I know.
They are nerds.
Geeks
this
are
is exactly what happened with the thing, though. That's exactly.
You had a thing? Oh yeah.
We did a thing. It was the last episode before this one. It just came out. Well, no, there will end up being one between this and that. The one that came out
between
today,
this?
Yeah.
Spinal Tap. But yeah, like, you know, we had Jonathan Elliott on, who was like, "This is the most beautiful movie that's ever been invented, and I know everything about it. I give it a 7." And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, I think I gave Mannequin an 8. So
Wow.
You really liked Mannequin.
no, I just like everything.
You're the Paula Abdul judge.
Yes,
You're the Paula Abdul judge. I'm not the Paula Abdul judge.
that's fair. We need each of us in this
It's true.
in this
It's
life.
true.
Yeah, because I think I've given at least 2 movies a 10.
I seem to default and give everything a 6.
That's true. You are harsher than me for sure.
But I can't go under except Young Guns. I
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
seem
that
to.
is a terrible movie.
I can't seem to like say anything bad about anyone's kid or any movie or whatever below that line, unless
So what do you give it?
a 6.
A 6.
It's the safe zone.
I think you should have like
I
a
would
running
split
list.
the difference.
Yeah.
It's like because I definitely recognize the joy and the love that's in this movie, and it's almost kind of like a language I can't quite speak, but I can pick out some parts, and so I definitely enjoyed it this time around more than the first time around. First time around was like, shrug, I don't get it. Did I miss something?
What the hell's going
Let
on
me
in this
flip
movie?
this over, and was there another? And then this time around, I definitely had a much better time. So basically, it's like, know what you're getting into that you will not know what you're getting into.
Right. And just roll with it.
Yeah,
Just roll with it.
you're confused. That's part of the fun.
That's part of the fun. Yeah.
Okay, and what about a deep cut recommendation? I actually think I have 2.
I want to hear yours because you're so proud of them.
Say both of them at the same time.
Ended up being proud of
Use
them.
both
At
your
first,
mouths.
I was like, what am I even gonna? What do you even recommend? To,
I mean, like the easiest recommendation
is what?
Big Trouble in Little
RoboCop?
China.
Oh,
just because
okay.
I mean, they do
That's-
share a similar something.
Right.
You know, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. A certain like, what the hell is this?
I think I thought about Legion, and then I landed on. This is the definition of a deep cut recommendation. So there's 2 characters in the movie, a police officer and his young son,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
who are like running around and they're in the mix.
Casper and Scooter.
Wow, nice, yes.
2 points.
And they are exactly like 2 characters in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh yeah, Mr. T.
And his
Yeah, and his
little
son.
that run around, and they're always together, and it was the same thing of like the dad and the son who are just like they're together solving these problems. So Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, it's an animated series now, as well as like 2 animated movies.
I'm trying to remember. Were those like based on
A book.
game? Oh, a book.
Yep.
Okay.
A children's
Where
book.
did that come
But
from?
it's like a 10-page children's book, and someone
Okay.
just
With, like,
took
no
it and,
characters,
ran
yeah.
with it. Yeah, and I think they're both great movies. And the series is really funny too, and in that like smart way that kids shows are now. Like
Right. Right.
it's not quite Gravity Falls, but it's no the Smurfs,
Gotcha.
which meant nothing and only made us dumber.
La 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 la.
So that's my first recommendation, and then my second one is Psych, because Peter Weller plays one of the like ultimate bad guys. He plays Yin.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten that. Oh my God, I had forgotten
I
that.
thought you would be excited that I remembered it and was like, oh yeah. So watch Psych, watch all of it, and then when you get to Peter Weller, be like, oh neat.
You just kind of, overlook the horrible 90s behavior of men.
Oh, you have
toward
to.
women. You just kind of let it go. Let it
Yes.
go. Just let it wash over you.
There's enough good, I think, to buoy it up.
Agreed.
All right, who wants to go next?
So I went a really weird deep cut.
That seems
because ideally the concept was that aliens are hiding among us, and that you would never know if anyone's going on and what do they think about us. And so my first one was a brother from another planet.
Oh, nice.
Now
nice,
this
nice.
is like, mind you, it was a very political film at the time, because it's race and how people view each other. I mean, it's a sad movie. It's very depressing, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense, because a lot of it is you have these entities living amongst you that you don't know, who are actually there, that are trying to get home and trying to do their own thing. Never mind that they're evil red lectoids, but ideally what they were trying to do was just go home. Never mind the motivations. My second one, also along the same veins, is The Man Who Fell to Earth with David Bowie. And again, an alien hiding amongst people, trying to influence us for the better, or in this case, trying to make sure, like the black lectoids, trying not to blow ourselves up, because that was part of their involvement, because we've stumbled upon nuclear power and all this other stuff.
So I was trying to come up with a deep cut for this, and I decided to put it in the category of like a sleepover movie marathon of movies that are that, like, if your grandpa walked in and was like, "What the hell is this?" And so what came to mind was Time Bandits.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that movie.
totally.
Which is just off the wall and crazy. And again, like, if you come in a few minutes late, you're like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Right.
Like,
I
I'm just
feel
not
like
getting
I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I feel like I was like this, and any Monty Python movie and Big Trouble in Little China.
Baron Munchausen, I would say, the same
Yeah.
vein.
So I'm gonna go with Time Bandits.
That's great.
Solid.
Yeah, I don't think mine are very deep. So one, I remember, I don't know when I started watching it, but Space 1999, I feel, has a similar.
Is that a movie?
No, it's a TV series, British sci-fi TV series that I would watch on cable.
Martin Landau?
Yep, Martin Landau. Along with the British TV version of Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think
then
that's on Netflix or
It
Amazon
was.
right now. Amazon.
It was on Netflix, or it could have been part of the culling, because they call it every 6 months or 7 months, whatever. The culling.
I love that. And then the other two that are more 80s related, one, Streets on Fire, which is an 80s movie, so that if you guys do it, then I want to be on that one too.
Okay.
That is my.
That's Diane Lane.
Yeah, who was the main actor? He did
Michael Paré.
Yeah, and it was like this weird gang fight.
And
What's his
she's
name?
a singer, and a Canadian comedy actor from Second City is
Who
in
played
it.
the Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man film?
Willem Dafoe?
William Dafoe is the bad guy.
Willem Dafoe's the bad guy.
He's like a 50s kind
Name
of
the-
gangster, not like greaser.
Yes, Greaser kid. Who?
Rick Moranis? Who are you?
I think
Eugene
it is Mick
Levy.
Moranis. No,
John
it's Mick
Candy?
Moranis. No, it's Rick Moranis
Moranis?
is in it. He plays Diane Lane's manager.
Okay.
Love that movie. And then a thing that there was a late night thing that also came on cable, which I can't remember the name of it, but I saw Forbidden Planet on that and a bunch of other later
like a late night monster movie
kind of a thing. It was another film with Diane Lane called Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, which, again, if you haven't seen, it's this.
Now I need to find it.
She's like a teenager, and she's fighting against the patriarchy, and she's in a punk band, and I don't know. There's something about it that makes me think of this film. Although otherwise, no connections whatsoever.
Okay.
Concepts. It's all about concepts and
There you
colors
go.
and shoes. I don't know why shoes, but it keeps you going.
Wow. Okay. So where can you don't have a current podcast, do you? But you're working on one.
Yes, my sister and I are reading through all of the Hugo and Nebula award-winning novels. But we've just barely made the 60s. It's been rough going through the 50s. It's been rough.
A lot of interesting stagnant themes.
Boys, and more boys doing boy things. Boys.
Yay, boy things.
Setting fire and finding body. Oh wait, never mind.
So when that comes out, we'll provide a retroactive
Yes,
link to
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Anything else that you want people to check out, where they can find you, like
Not that I
find
can
fun
think
stuff
of.
for you? They can check
mean, if
out the
they're-
Educating Geeks archives.
They certainly can. That's hosted on the fabulous, oh my God, I can't remember the name all of a sudden. The
SoundCloud?
Excellent Pod Network.
Yes, true.
You can find the archive there, or you can also find it just on Libsyn if you just search for Educating Geeks.
And for you, sir, where can people find?
Well, I give my own address, but then then I
Then
don't
they
get
can
time.
find
Then they
you.
could find me. Actually, friends of mine, Doc Walling and Johnny Lebrad, are part of my trio of the Science of Drinking. Hence, why we are the unlicensed mixologists. We have a website where you can find all kinds of sci-fi, horror, fantasy recipes for alcohol and things that we've done. And
So fun.
and
I'm into that,
Oh
yeah.
we're on Facebook, and our most recent foray was Doc Walling found a thing online, or not online, found it in the store, a canned pork with juices. Yes, that look on your face is exactly what we thought. And so we decided, hey, let's try, some odd food sort of eating. So we found a thing of canned haggis and
I actually like haggis.
sweet
I don't know
gefilte
about
fish.
canned haggis, but
So we
like
sat and ate sweet gefilte fish, canned haggis, and pork with juices, cooked 2 ways, smoked and boiled in beer. It was an experience.
I believe you.
That
But
sounds like it.
but normally but yeah, that's Science of Drinking is what we normally do. So if you look us up, and then you'll see the Three Idiots, that is us there. Also at Phoenix Fan Fusion, we'll be there doing urban legends and other spooky things.
Yay.
So if you like spooky things, and then us, talking about when we scared ourselves, that's what we do.
Awesome. Well, you can find me in real life and, stalk me or whatever you want at NCT if you're in the Mesa, Arizona or the greater Phoenix area. And you can find me at nctphoenix.com and Most Excellent Pod on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all the other stuffs. And you can find Nathan lots of places as well.
Yes, so you can find all my stuff at Squishy Studios, at the Facebooks, on the Instagrams and the Twitters. You can check out the film projects that we're working on. And
Got some interesting stuff like in the works.
yeah,
coming
in
up.
development, some stuff
Yeah.
in the works, yeah. So check us out.
Well, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, thumbs up, rate, review, tell a friend, all the things you know you have to do. Please do them. We would appreciate it. Nathan would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm right over here appreciating.
He is currently appreciating.
He's
something
very
you have yet
appreciative.
to do.
Is that legal? What is he doing over there?
Don't look at me.
Oh my God.
And, when you're out there in the world, be sure to keep the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast motto in mind. Be excellent to each other and...
Wherever
There
you go.
There you are.
Yay!